Hello and welcome back to the Manga Club, the club where we talk about manga that we've been recently reading and enjoying. Let me know what you've been recently reading and enjoying, and if you've read what I'm about to talk about, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. I finally finished part 1 of Chainsaw Man, and honestly, I really enjoyed it. Probably more than I thought I was going to. When I started reading volumes sort of 1 through 5, I was like, this is a cool story, but I was reading JJK at the same time and it just didn't hold the same weight as these did for me. And then when it got to sort of, I don't know, maybe volume 6 or 7 is when it really starts to step up, and I really enjoyed this. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. It is so much better than the anime in my opinion. I don't know why, it doesn't translate to me. On screen, the characters don't come across the same way. The sort of the comedy or the quirkiness, it just sort of, I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and I can't describe why it reads better in manga form, but it does. And you will understand if you read it too. I genuinely didn't know that Chainsaw Man was split into parts. I didn't realise that this was the first part, and it was essentially the prologue to Chainsaw Man. In my opinion, reading this and reading the ending of it, it was sort of how his character came to be and how he started, and then in the next part, I mean, I've not read any of part 2 yet, but to me it's like, now let's see what Chainsaw Man can really do. Now he's in full fruition. One issue that I had quite often when I was reading sort of the early volumes of Chainsaw Man was trying to connect to the characters. I felt like I don't want to keep comparing it to, but like Jujutsu Kaisen, I loved the characters instantly in that. Whereas in this, I found it quite hard to connect to people, like even Denji, Power, Aki, I don't know, there was something about these characters that didn't really click with me. But then after sort of spending more time with them and getting the lore behind some of the characters as well, I genuinely loved them by the end. Especially Denji and Power, the relationship that they have towards the end. I loved seeing a more mature, serious side of Denji in the last couple volumes where he was sort of seriously grieving, and oh my god, what an absolute twist that was of the death of Aki. Like, that caught me so off guard. And the Makima stuff, I was just sat reading it. I must have got through a volume a day. It was just like I was going through it so quick. Like, what? The shot of Makima on the beach, and then she takes them, and then the gun devil gets called, comes, and then oh my god, that reveal of Denji opening the door and it's Aki, but he's the gun devil, and that whole fight is absolutely heartbreaking. Like, seeing him think he's just having a snowball fight with Denji, and then actually it turns out, no, he's not. He's having a real fight, and Denji is having to fight for his life, and seeing Aki sort of finally at peace. But it was just such a sad ending. I didn't expect them to kill him off. I really didn't. But it did fit a purpose in the story, and I did really like how it sort of turned it around, and especially like with Powder's death, who sort of didn't die but then sort of did die, and then that whole conversation and that whole thing, I just really loved it. The hell scene, oh my god, I've not been gripped by a scene like that in a while. Just the fact of like all of the main characters trapped in this one little bit, and then their arms start popping off, their heads start popping off, and you're like, how are these characters even going to get out of this? How are they even going to do a single thing against this absolutely insane power? And then the iconic panel of like the astronauts in a line. Oh, the art of Chainsaw Man, I absolutely adore. Like, I really do. At first I wasn't sure if I did. I didn't know if it was sort of like overly simple or anything like that, but I grew to just love the detailing of some of the panels were outstanding. Is it as easy to follow as something like a JJK or just something where the action's a little bit more clean? No, I don't think it is. I think I struggled sometimes following some of the action scenes. I struggled sort of following whose punch was going where and what was, like, who was even winning. But when I sort of adjusted to it and just sort of took some of the panels are just works of art. Like, they really are. Regardless of if the story has its flaws or its faults, the artwork cannot be faulted. It is just brilliantly detailed, and the strokes and the grimness of some of the stuff is just, Like Denji when he goes sort of into his full Chainsaw Man, like he gets overtaken. That and just everything about that and that whole volume, wow, that was outstanding. I loved the conspiracies and things around Makima and seeing that build up and just this absolute bitch of a devil just coming up and like seeing seeds throughout the volumes of she's not to be trusted. We don't know if what she's sort of ploying or who she actually even is, and then to finally get the reveal of like what her devil is and just how much just an absolutely psychotic maniac she is. That whole end part of Denji playing her on her own morals and everything, and just brilliantly written. I loved this. I genuinely didn't think I would like it as much as I did. I thought at the beginning it was a little bit cringy. Chainsaw Man, it's cool, but like, and then the way it's all just like Denji, like, oh, I just want to touch some boobs, and it was a little bit like, can we just like grow up? Well, not grow up because that sounds pretentious as shit, but like, can we just like have a serious scene? And then to sort of see the development and the growth of the characters and the actual depth that comes into it is just brilliant. I am really excited to read part 2 of the story. I don't know what's gonna happen in that now that the threat of Makima's gone. I have no idea. Maybe there's gonna be another threat or something like that, but I'm very excited to read it. I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break and read something else because I stormed my way through this. I mean, it took me probably like 2 months to read the first 4 because I was reading it really slowly, and that sort of hindered my reading experience because I'd forget people's names or certain people. But after I passed sort of 5 or 6, I got through the rest in like a week. It was so good. But anyway, let me know, what did you think of Chainsaw Man if you've read it? And I'm really excited to hear your opinions on it and what you thought about it, and let me know if I should be excited for part 2 or if I should avoid it. But anyway, that has been all from me. I will see you next time on the Manga Club. Let me know, what should I read next? Bye bye.